Hello and welcome to Undergraduate Applications Advice Live. We're here to give you all the information you need to know about coming to study here at the University of Kent. Over the next hour, we're going to be talking to staff and students who'll be able to tell you all about studying here at the university. And you can send in any questions you want to be answered via YouTube or Facebook, whatever format you're watching on. Now, as we're all obviously maintaining social distancing and following government guidelines, we're on the line from various locations, so do bear with us if we cut out at any point or if there are any technical glitches. We'll look to get those sorted as soon as possible. Well, we've got my panel here who'll be with us this afternoon. We're going to head over to Recruitment Officer William Alkin first to tell us a little bit about the University of Kent and what it's like to come and study here. William, over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the event. So my name's Will, and I'm a recruitment officer here at the University of Kent. So usually my colleagues and myself will be travelling around the UK, visiting you guys in schools, colleges, and at UCAS events, providing information and workshops and presentations on applying to universities, student finance, UCAS and personal statements, all those bits and pieces. But unfortunately, we cannot do that at the moment, so this is the next best thing. So if you do have any questions about applying to university, student finance, UCAS personal statements, I'm on hand today to answer any of those questions.
Absolutely, and do remember, as I said, do send in those questions on the live YouTube or Facebook chat panel. You can send those in over the course of the event, and they could be about anything about applying to life here at the university. William, thank you very much for opening. Medway, we're going to head over to you now. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey to be at the University of Kent.
Hi everyone, my name is Maiwa. I'm a third-year law student at the University of Kent. So I applied to go to this university in 2017. I applied for law, and basically my journey here has kind of been basically the conventional way of getting to this university. I applied through UCAS and I got it accepted and I got the right grades, and that's how I got to this university. Pretty much I've always wanted to go to this university. It was my first choice from the beginning, and yeah, that's basically it.
Thank you very much for that, Maiwa. Tavimba is on the line as well. Tavimba, over to you. Tell us a little bit about what attracted you to the University of Kent and what that experience has been like for you.
Hi, I'm Tavimba. I'm a third-year student doing multimedia design and tech. So when I applied to university, I actually applied for liberal arts, and only I think around 7 or 8 universities in the country did it. So out of those 7 or 8, I chose Kent because the campus was beautiful, the course seemed amazing from what I read online. And obviously when I came to university, I did switch courses, but again, the course I do, not many universities do it. So I think Kent is really unique in the courses it provides you. And there's so much help, and they give you so much advice with what to do and how to do your course, basically.
Fantastic stuff, and we're going to hear a little bit more about your experiences on the course and the rest of your time at the University of Kent. And of course, any of you watching at home can send in those questions via YouTube and Facebook. We'll get those answered for you by our panellists this afternoon. William, let's come to you first. We had a little bit from Tavimba there about what attracted her to the University of Kent, and a really big question to start. But why should those watching choose the University of Kent?
Well, the University of Kent is based in a fantastic location. We're only an hour away from London. On the high-speed train, we are about 15 minutes down the road from Eurostar over into Europe. We've got our Medway campus, which is about 25 minutes away from London as well. We've got over 400 programs of study available, so there's plenty of variety and options for students to come and study. We offer fantastic year abroad and study abroad opportunities, if that's something students are interested in. As well as this, we have great placement year options that are also available. So if you're looking to gain that experience throughout your course, that work experience, taking that into your career, we've got plenty of opportunities available for you as well. Going back to the location, we're only 6 miles away from Whitstable, which is a beautiful coastal town. So in terms of location, it's fantastic. And then in terms of quality of teaching, we're rated gold in the Teaching Excellence Framework. So that's the highest accolade you can receive throughout universities for your teaching. And we're also rated top 20 for our research as well. So if you were looking to go into a master's or a PhD program, our research is also ranked top 20 and is globally recognized as well.
A lot of real positives to go through there, and a lot of the people watching this afternoon will be right at the start of their higher education journey, maybe not even in higher education yet. What would you say to them about the start of that process? How does the application process work for those wanting to go and do an undergraduate degree, Will?
Yeah, so some might be going through the process right now, some might be looking to do it next year. So what happens is you apply UCAS, you have 5 course codes available, so you could either choose 5 different courses, or you can choose one institution and 5 different courses there. So what you'd do, you go on UCAS, you would apply uploading your predicted grades, your personal statement, and you also need a reference as well. There are different deadlines in terms of applications. So if you're looking for veterinary science, medicine, and dentistry, you have a slightly earlier deadline, which is middle of October. But for all the other courses, you got until the 15th of January. So you got about September to the 15th of January to go through the application process. So there's plenty of time to do your research. I'd recommend narrowing down the course that you really want to do. That is vital because obviously you're going to be studying at a higher level for about 3 to 5 years, depending on the course. So it's vital that you enjoy the course that you're going to be studying, and also seeing yourself taking that to that next level. So is that the career you want to go down, and will this degree take you on to that next step? So once you apply through UCAS, it's a case of viewing universities. I know here at University of Kent, we're actually holding campus tours at the moment, both on the Canterbury and Medway campuses. So if you do want to visit us physically, you can, but we also have virtual tours available as well. So you then go and visit the universities that you're interested in, get a bit of a feel for where you'd be living as well, and make up your mind. And then after that, it's all in your hands. So it would be down to your grades. You'll be made an offer from the university, either an unconditional offer, which is quite rare. That usually happens when students have already got their grades. They might have had a year out working, etc. So they would receive an unconditional offer. However, for most students, they receive a conditional offer. So that traditionally is meeting the grades required to go onto that course. So the admissions team go through the application, produce an offer, and then it'll be down to you guys to get the grades required to come to university.
And there's so many courses to choose from. We're going to talk about them in a little bit more depth. Maya, coming over to you, you said Kent had always been right at the top of the list for you for where you wanted to go. Why was that? What was it that attracted you to come to Kent?
What attracted me most of all for Kent was mainly the fact that it's a campus university. I know that for my university experience, I really wanted to have that communal feel. I wanted to feel like I was getting my full university experience, and I felt like a campus uni was the perfect situation for that. And I really liked the Canterbury campus, sorry. Specifically for my course, I loved the way in which my course was taught. I loved the way in which we would be challenged in the course to think not just about the law, but also about what it means and its wider implications. But most of all, I would say that it's because of how great the Kent Law School is as well. It is like a world-renowned law school, and I think that was one of the biggest selling points for me personally, that I would be able to get this campus university feel and also be experiencing an amazing law school at the same time.
And Savimba, I think it's really important to stress as well that with yourself, you're saying there were only a handful of places that really offered the course that you were looking for, and that's something that's really offered by the University of Kent and going to university generally, is that there is something for everybody. Is that what you found, that you had those doors open to you and you were able to go down that route and pursue that career that you might not have been able to pursue otherwise?
No, definitely. I got really lucky. So when I came and started doing my course, I knew that Although I was loving university, I was loving the experience, I knew the course wasn't quite what I wanted to do. But the fact that Kent did it in the first place was amazing. But then we have a student support and wellbeing team who were so helpful and so amazing during that whole time. So I went to them, we started exploring my options, I started telling them about what interests me, what I like and what I don't like. And then they literally sat down with me, pulled up a list of all the courses they do and helped me find a course that is called Multimedia Design and Technology, and literally nowhere else does it, but it's a perfect course for me. I never knew about it. It combines everything I love and everything that I want to do in the future, and it's helped me really like put a career path into motion. And I feel like if I didn't come to Kent, I might not have had the amount of support I did, and I wouldn't have been able to find basically the perfect course for me.
Perfect course for you, and hopefully the perfect course for many as well who'll be looking to apply and those watching. And of course, if any of you at home watching on YouTube or Facebook have any questions, you can send those in the live chat panel to get them answered by Will, Mayowa and Tavimba over the rest of the event. We've had a question coming in from David. Will, you're probably best placed to answer this one. David's asking, are there scholarship opportunities available to international students?
Yes, there are scholarship opportunities available. We have academic, sporting, and musical scholarships that are available. The best place to go would be for the international team. They'll be on hand to answer any sort of international scholarships and funding information there. Unfortunately, I'm not too familiar with the international side of things, but there are definitely scholarships available for academic excellence if you've got amazing grades, and also sporting and musical prowess as well. So there's plenty of funding for scholarships and bursaries.
Plenty of information as well on kent.ac.uk as well about anything that we're discussing as part of this afternoon. Will, staying with you, what should students look to include in their applications and their personal statements when they get around to that stage?
In the process of doing their personal statements, it's vital that they mention the course that they want to study, why they want to study it, what they enjoy about it, what aspects that they want to work on within that subject as well. Because, like I say, you're going to be studying for about 3 to 5 years, depending on your course. So you really want to get across to the admissions officers why you want to study a particular course and what you enjoy about it, and why you want to take it to that next level, and how you see yourself molding your career around that particular subject. As well as that, you want to include any extracurricular activities. So they want to get to know, admissions officers want to get to know you as a person as well as your academic side. So mention any hobbies, any sports, any music, any interests. Do you like traveling? Just so they can get to know you a bit more as a person. And then if you have any super curricular activities, so if you've done any extended projects or any volunteering around your particular subject, that's definitely worth putting that in the personal statement as well.
It's been a few years since I was having to write my personal statement to go to uni, but I do remember always being told include things that are going to really make you stand out, and don't be worried to kind of boast about your achievements. I think that's really important to get across to those viewing this event, is that if they've done something incredible and they've got that experience, they should really shout about it in their applications, Will.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. You don't want to start too many sentences. I've done this, I've done that. But you want to make it flow. But yeah, definitely be proud about what you've done, what you've achieved, and how you want to take things further. Yeah, also mention how you'd be suitable for higher education, how your work ethic is, are you disciplined, what's your time management like, are you organized? So all those key skills that you may not think you're picking up at school or at work, whatever you're doing, they're really vital when you're taking that into higher education, because going into sort of the subject area, you may have only 10 hours of lectures and seminars, but then you also got to fit around part-time work, volunteering, sports clubs, society. So having those skills are vital, taking that into the next step. And that's what the admissions officers want to see as well. So what kind of skills that you can bring and also develop whilst you're at university.
Mayowa, what was the application experience like for you?
From what I can remember, because it was like a couple years ago, it was quite smooth, to be fair. I know from applying to other law schools that they do tend to do interviews. At the time, Kent didn't do interviews. I'm not too sure if they do interviews now, but they didn't do interviews. They got back to me very quickly. I think it was like maybe within a month that they got back to me. There was constant communication from the time between my exams to finding out my results. There was always a sign that they were always there. If I needed any questions answered, if I wanted to know any information, I always knew that I had the sources to be able to go and find out more information. So it always felt like from the time in which I applied till now, it just felt like I always had support, and it always felt like there was always someone there that I could speak to if I needed to know more information, which was really, really good. And I can't say that all universities are like that, but I feel like Kent really stood out with their support for me personally. Yeah.
And that communication obviously really vital for yourself. To those watching it, would you say it's really important for them as well, if they have got questions, no questions too small, to really build that network with the university and to start those contacts and asking those questions that might be on their mind?
Yes, I do. I do think that there's always someone there to answer your question, regardless. There is never a time where the question is too silly or too small. Every single question is valid. You should never feel as if it's a silly question or it's not useful to ask. It's good to know as much as you can, especially if it's the place that you want to spend 3 years of your life there. I think it's always good to ask questions, and at Kent, you'll never feel ashamed or shunned for asking questions.
And Tavimba, for you, what did you find with those questions that you really wanted answered? It's obviously a few years ago for you as well. But what was it that you really wanted to know before coming here, and what the sort of the areas that you wanted to kind of have a bit more information about?
So obviously university is a completely different experience to the rest of your education journey. So I kind of just wanted to know how, I know this might sound a bit weird, but like how do you like fit in? How do you get used to university life? How do you start meeting new people? Obviously I had questions about like what my course would be like, how many seminars, because obviously you've never been to a seminar, you've never been to a lecture. So I had a lot of questions about what that would actually be like, so I could mentally and like physically prepare myself for those actual things. I had questions about what the campus would actually be like, if there was places to eat, if what like where I could go out. And obviously, whether you're in Canterbury or Medway, you want to know a bit about the place your university is located in. So even questions about town, if you want to know about the nightlife, if you want to know about what social aspects you can get up to, literally any question can get answered. So it doesn't have to just be about your course. It can be about the social side. It can be about the location, the area. Someone's always going to help you. So it was really nice to be able to have all that preparation on hand before I actually got to university.
And what did you find as part of that whole application process that was perhaps maybe a bit harder to navigate, and that you maybe advise students watching now how best to kind of navigate that, Tavimba?
I think one of the hardest parts of the application for me was actually my personal statement. So the personal statement obviously is very important to your application. It tells the university about you. It basically is the entranceway into your university application process. So I think if you have any advice about, if you want to get any advice about what the universities look for, you actually can write to them and just get some advice about what they want you to put down. So I know Will's already touched on it, so putting your achievements, but obviously some universities or some courses might want you to accentuate different things or talk about different volunteering or other aspects you've done. So obviously you can get help from your head of year sixth form and any teacher sixth form, but don't be afraid to contact your actual university and maybe just get some advice about what they look for in particular.
Now, on the subject of interviews as well, many courses that is part and parcel of the application process. Will, what advice would you have to those applicants who are going to have to go through the interview process?
Yeah, so as part of the application process, the admissions officers will be in touch to those applicants who will be required to interview. My advice to the students who will be required to be interviewed, just breathe, relax. They'll be in touch as to what will be required on the day and what will be required of you within the interview. So there are different formats. So you might have a one-on-one interview with an admissions officer. So that's where they just want to get to know a bit more about you and your endeavours within that particular subject. You'll have a panel interview potentially. So that's where there might be an admissions officer, but also another academic on hand. You might have a telephone interview, which might be slightly more relaxed. Just a quick discussion as to get a bit more detail as to why you want to go to university, that particular university, or study a particular course. But then there's also some multiple mini interview stations as well. So that might be a bit more practical based for engineering or medicine. So it does vary depending on which course you're looking to do as to how the interview format is. But like I say, the admissions officers will be in touch as to what the format will be. But as long as you get across your passion as to why you want to do that subject, why you want to take it to the next level, and just let them know about any experience you got, any work experience, any volunteering, because that will always help you going forward.
Amaya, for you, I imagine with the law degree, there was an interview process for that. Tell us a little bit about what that was like.
Actually, there wasn't an interview for Kent at the time. I did do an interview for another university. So, in terms of tips of how to possibly ace an interview, it's literally just be yourself and make sure that they see how much you are passionate about your course and how much you do care about your course. That's it. Don't try and be someone that you're not, because at the end of the day, you're applying to a university that will fit you. It's about it being a good match for you. And I would just say relax and just completely be yourself. Just make sure that you ensure that you show how much you do care about the course that you're applying to.
Yeah, really important to get that across, that it's got to be the place and the course that fits for you, and obviously that has worked out for yourself and Tavimba. Tavimba, we've got a question that's come in from Annie. She's asked, what sports and societies are there at the university, and how many can you get involved with?
So there is every type of society at uni. In terms of sports societies, from football to netball to swimming, hockey, there's even a Quidditch one, like any society that you can think of, University of Kent has it. Where there is a society page where you can go on and look at all the different societies, and I'm pretty sure you can join as many as you have time for. So with a lot of the sports societies, they'll have certain events on like Wednesday. So if you wanted to be part of a sports society and you wanted to be part of, for example, like if you do business, you want to be part of a business society, you can do that. There's so many, there's literally so many that you can join in and be a part of. So it's amazing, and it's such a great way to meet new people. And a lot of them have a trial period, so you don't have to commit to the society yet. You can just go for a session, see if you like it, see what it's about, try something new that you've never done before, and it's just amazing. So yeah, there is a whole society page where you can just go on and look at all the different ones we have.
Definitely wish we had the Quidditch Society when I was at uni. What an experience that would have been. And as you said, there's many that you can enjoy. And you can look at those on the Kent Union and the GKSU websites, as well as going to kent.ac.uk. Thank you, Annie, for that question. And David as well earlier on it. And do send in those questions, those watching at home. We'll get those answered by our panellists here. And we're going to take a short break to give you a little bit of an idea of what the Canterbury campus looks like. And then we'll be back to answer a few more questions. So see you in a few moments' time.
Hi, my name is Olga. Welcome to the University of Kent's Canterbury campus. So this is Templeman Library. It's got so much study spaces for you and your friends to get some work done. It's got over 1 million books and journals for you to do your work, and also the library staff are a dedicated team of people to help you and answer any questions that you might have. So welcome to the Plaza. This is normally where the hub of activity takes place on campus. There's loads of places to eat and drink with your friends with. There's also a bookshop and also one of the two of the co-ops on campus. sports centre here at the University of Kent, there's something for everyone. There's a gym, fitness and dance studios, martial arts training areas and even a physio clinic. With sport and fitness at the University of Kent, you name it, we got it. Not far from the sports centre, you have Parkwood Student Village. Parkwood is an amazing place to meet amazing people. I met some of my best friends here in my first year. There's other areas to live on campus, such as Keynes, Turin and Darwin. Parkwood is next to our campus pub Woody's, which is a great place to relax and socialise with friends. So across the street from Parkwood, you have the sports field under Pavilion. On Wednesdays, sports teams can be found training or playing against other unis. In quieter times, it's a great place to chill and keep to any social distancing rules. So we're back in the centre of campus and we're outside the Gulbenkian. The Gulbenkian is a place of entertainment here on campus. It's a cinema, it's a theatre, it's also got a music hall called the Collier Ferguson, which will all be open once lockdown has been eased. But the Gulbenkian has so many shows, whether that's comedy, theatre, dance, and if you're part of a performance society here at the University of Kent, you might have the opportunity to perform here just like I did when I was a student. So saving the best place for last, it's many people's favourite places on campus. It's the one and only, the campus green. It's got a wonderful view of the cathedral, plenty of wide open space, and what better view to have of the city of Canterbury.
Welcome back to Undergraduate Applications Advice Live here at the University of Kent. We're here to answer a few more questions that you've got, and do keep them coming in on Facebook and YouTube. Will, question of references. Obviously, many students are going to need them. How does that whole process work?
Yeah, so references are quite important, actually. They're essentially there to support what you're saying on your personal statement and throughout your application. So we recommend that you find someone that knows you in that working environment. If you're at school at the moment or college, you can ask your tutor, your teacher, your principal or vice principal, someone that knows you, like I say, in that working environment, be able to support your predicted grades, be able to support sort of a character reference. Are you hardworking? Is your time management good? Do you communicate well? So yeah, someone that knows you in that environment. And also, if you're not at work, if you're not at school or college at the moment and you're working, you can ask a employer, ex-employer, supervisor, someone again that knows you in that working environment that can support what you're saying on your application and personal statement. We recommend that you don't ask your parents, guardians, partners or ex-partners to be a referee, because your application could potentially be cancelled if that is the case. So obviously they can be biased towards what you're saying on your application. So we strongly recommend that you do put someone that you know in an academic setting or working setting that can support essentially what you're saying on your personal statement and also throughout your application.
And staying with you, Will, we've had a question in from Megan. She's asked, how do students pick their courses from such a wide choice? And I guess, maybe students like Megan will maybe want to look at specific areas of certain courses and want to go down a more specified route. What advice would you have for them to kind of get to grips with that huge plethora of courses?
Yeah, I completely understand that. There's over 37,000 courses available in UCAS. At the University of Kent, 400 courses available. So I understand that it is difficult trying to pick that one specific course. But like I've mentioned throughout, it's vital that you find that subject that you do enjoy at the moment in sixth form or college at the moment, or finding a subject that you think you're going to go down that path career-wise. And then once you find sort of the broader subject, that's when you can go onto UCAS or go onto the universities that you have in mind, and then you can narrow down the course search. So you can on the University of Kent website, you can narrow down the area, for instance, psychology, and then you can narrow down, year abroad, year in industry, and go into more of a specific area within that subject area. So narrowing it down to sort of the broader subject that you want to do, and then finding the specific area in that particular subject. But make sure it's something that you really enjoy, something that you want to do for 3 to 5 years. Then that's going to help you sort of propel you into the career that you're looking for.
Absolutely. Megan, thank you very much for sending in that question, and do keep those questions coming in on YouTube and Facebook. Will, just another one for you. What advice have you got to international and mature students who may want to go and do an undergraduate degree? We heard a little bit earlier on about those scholarships available to international students, but just generally for international students and for mature students, what tips would you have for them to go through that undergraduate application process?
Yeah, so in terms of international, we've got over 156 different nationalities at University of Kent. We've got about 30% that come from the EU and international. So we do welcome everyone from all over the country, all over the world. So in terms of applying for that process, again, narrow down that subject that you want to do. And then also you feel free to give myself a message or my colleagues a message, also the international recruitment team. They'll be on hand to help with any visas, any questions in terms of entry requirements, because obviously there will be a conversion in terms of entry requirements. So we'll need equivalent grades within that particular country to equivalent to sort of A levels over here. So in terms of support, the university, as Tav mentioned earlier, we've got a great support and wellbeing service on hand. Myself and the recruitment team, we've got the international recruitment officers on hand. You can message us via Unibuddy. So if you have any questions in terms of the application process, you can message us on there or email us, and we'll be able to help you throughout. In terms of mature students, we've got plenty of opportunities. We've got a mature student society. So we've got plenty of students on hand that are over 21 and plus that maybe want to change a career. Because that does happen. You might go into a specific career, you might have good intentions, but then you might think down the road you want to change. So here at University of Kent, we welcome people all ages. Like I say, we've got the Mature Student Society. So yeah, there's plenty of opportunity for mature students to get involved and study an undergraduate degree. So it doesn't matter how old you are, there's opportunities for everyone.
And we've had a comment more than a question in from Patricia saying that it looks like such a beautiful campus from those shots that we saw from the Canterbury walkthrough. Tavimbra, would you like to tell us a little bit more about what life is like on campus and what there is to enjoy, maybe not just on campus, but out in the rest of the county?
It's known as the Garden of England just because it has the most amazing and beautiful views ever. Even from, like, I think this is a dockyard that you can see that's in Medway, and it's absolutely stunning and it's huge to just go on a nice walk around. And obviously in Canterbury, from the campus, you can see the cathedral when you stand on the top of a hill, and it's just beautiful. I think it's spread over something like 300 acres, the Canterbury campus, so it's so big and there's always somewhere to explore. We're located near the coast, so there's so many beaches. If you just drive 25 minutes one way, half an hour another way, you could just go on a nice beach day out, see a little seaside city. Canterbury is literally beautiful, it's so picturesque, and especially if you're into anything like photography, if you like doing outdoor sports, if you like going on walks and bike rides, it's absolutely beautiful. And obviously you do have towns, so all your shopping, all your anything else you basically want to do is there as well. So it's such a beautiful campus, but obviously there's still stuff to do in the actual town. And that's the same with Medway. So Medway has its own outlet centre, so you can go there, do your shopping, walk around the dockyards. It's a really, really beautiful campus, and I've enjoyed exploring it over the past few years.
And I think it's important as well, obviously, with the ongoing situation with COVID, to get across that there is, you talk about all these wide open spaces, and there is a lot to enjoy. Have you found, Tavimbra, that you've still been able to enjoy campus life and enjoy the rest of the county, maybe having to be socially distanced and seeing some of those sites?
Yeah, no, definitely. Like you said, there's so much open space, so you and whoever can go out and make sure you're obviously following COVID restrictions. You don't have to get too close to people. So loads of my friends, they have scooters or they have bikes or skateboards. They will literally just go out and just like spend the day out with and while abiding to the rules, obviously. I think that's the best thing about Canterbury because it's not like a metropolitan city, so you can go out and it's not a crowded space. You have all the fresh air. You can go out and enjoy yourself and not worry too much about, obviously be concerned about COVID, but you can know that you're enjoying yourself safely because it's not overly packed with people, and anywhere you go you have your own space, you can go explore and go outdoors. It's great.
And Mayo, there's going to be many students watching this who are obviously going to be worried about the ongoing situation and what that's going to be like at university. What would you have to say to them about, obviously a student yourself going through that experience at the moment? What would you say to those watching?
Despite COVID, you're still able to get the university experience, especially because the Canterbury campus is a campus university. You're still really able to get that communal feel regardless. All the shops are still open on campus, all the restaurants are still open, and during freshers, there were a couple outdoor activities that you could do with friends, like mini golf or basketball, or just various different games that you could play. So, regardless of COVID, obviously abiding by COVID rules, etc. The university have done a really good job of making sure that everyone's still able to have a good time and still able to get the real university feel. Honestly speaking, there is a difference because there's the restrictions and there's the one-way systems, but in terms of getting that full university experience, you don't really miss out apart from the fact that you won't have in-person lectures. But other than that, you're still able to socialize, obviously within COVID guidelines, and you're still able to walk around campus, go to shops, go to restaurants, and basically almost do as you please.
And as well to any of those students watching who want to know a little bit more about how those COVID restrictions are impacting university life and those one-way systems that Maya talked about, if you are just interested in finding out a little bit more about that, there is a coronavirus FAQ website on the University of Kent website that you can go to. We've had a few more questions coming in. Thank you all very much for sending those in. Will, we've had a question in from Jane asking, how lenient are the university with grade requirements? I guess that's obviously very dependent on the course that they're applying to.
Yeah, very much so. It does depend on the admissions team, the admissions officers themselves. They obviously can't be too lenient in terms of, if you do go below the required grade boundary significantly, they obviously won't be able to let you in. But it does depend. So there could be a rebalance in terms if you required BBC and you got ABC or ABD, you might be able to still be allowed to get in. But yeah, there's not too much leniency. Like I say, it does depend on the admissions officer themselves. But they do have the required grade boundary there for a reason. So as long as you hit that, hopefully everything will be okay. But yeah, there is some leniency that the admissions officers might be able to provide.
And as we mentioned at the start, we're all obviously remoting in from our various locations. I'm streaming live here from the University of Kent Medway campus. We've had a question from Yusuf, Will, asking about what's life like for a Medway student. We've seen some of those shots of Canterbury, and we're going to have another one of those walkthrough videos at the end of the program about the Medway campus. But Will, tell us a little bit about what students who come to Medway can expect.
Yeah, so Medway is in a fantastic area. Like I say, it's about 25 minutes from London. We're based in the Chatham Dockyard, so it's an old naval base. We reconverted it in 2005. We've got around 2,000 students at the campus there. We've got Pier Keys, which is also just down the road from the campus. So that's our accommodation site. They're all ensuite accommodation blocks, self-catered. So yeah, there's plenty of places to go. As Tav mentioned, there's a shopping mall just down the road. You've got a cinema. Actually on the campus, we've got a library, which is one of the longest in Europe, I believe. and we've got GK unions. So we also share the campus with Greenwich and Canterbury Christchurch. So we've got GK unions, so they can provide any sports teams or societies. There's a bar there. We've got a cafe. We've even got a little sports centre there as well. So everything you need is on campus. There's shop. There's places to get some food, to get a coffee. And in terms of the local area, like I say, Chatham Dockyard, it's just down the road. Greenwich Park as well. It's just a short ride away. So yeah, there's plenty of opportunities to get around and travel around the local area. And we also have a free shuttle bus during term time from the Medway campus to the Canterbury campus. So if you do have any friends that are on the Canterbury campus or vice versa, you can go between the campuses, which is quite a good opportunity to check out both if you are based at one and want to have a look at the other.
Patricia's been back in touch. She's asked about how much would a student expect to pay to rent an apartment or a room in Canterbury. So a question about accommodation. Tavimba, I don't know with you if you lived in halls in your first year and what your situation is like now. Maybe tell us a little bit about that living situation on the University of Kent campus.
So I was in catered accommodation, when I was in my first year. So I was located right in the middle of campus, which was amazing. So the library was like a 2-minute walk, and there's loads of food outlets around, and there's just loads. The accommodation was really good. That's how I met a lot of my friends. So Kent has loads of catered and self-catered accommodation. Obviously, they range in price. So if you're in a self-catered house, you could be looking at like 4.5 to maybe 5.5k for the year. But if you're in self-catered accommodation, it might be a bit cheaper. If you're in an ensuite flat, it might be a bit more expensive. So there's a range of accommodation. There's all at different pricing. In both my second and third year, I moved off of campus. So I've been in a house for both of those years. I've lived in 2 different houses, and my rent has literally never gone over 400 a month. So it's a really good pricing. There's loads of housing options in Kent, and obviously once you've established your relationships in first year, you can move in with your friends. That's what I've been doing. So yeah, it's 2 different experiences, but I loved being on campus. I love being off of campus. And I believe that after your first year, you can apply to go back to campus. So a few people who I know have done that as well. So it's based on preference.
Patricia, thank you very much for sending that in, and we look forward to welcoming you here to take your MA when you come to the University of Kent. Mayor, what about your living situation at the University of Kent?
So in first year, I did live on campus. I stayed in one of the more newer accommodations, which is Turing College. That was basically an ensuite flat situation, and for me it was around £6,800 for the entire year, so it was a bit more on the pricier side, and I think the price has gone up more recently. But if you don't mind about having an ensuite, or you don't mind sharing, then there are accommodations that are significantly cheaper, particularly in areas such as Parkwood. Like Tavimba said, you can share a house where you're probably looking around 4,500 to maybe like £5,000. So it's not too expensive if you don't want to be looking on the pricier side. But other than that, the accommodations are beautiful on campus. In my second and current year, I have been living off campus. So I live in a house, and I've lived in the same house for the past 2 years, which is kind of a great thing about getting a house with friends, that if you choose to, you can stay in the same house for 2 years, which makes life a lot easier. My rent right now is around £300, and like Tavimba said, it's in Canterbury, it's very easy to find a nice house for around £400 a month, as long as you look well. There are so many nice houses in Canterbury and so many student areas as well. So even though you might not be on campus, you still do feel like you're surrounded by university students. You don't feel so isolated off. but there are great houses here, a lot of student letting agencies, and also the university does provide a lot of help with students in terms of finding accommodation off campus too. So even if you are living off campus, you still do receive support from the university regardless.
Absolutely, a lot of support there that we've spoken about. Will, we've had a question from Fawn as well. She's already a she's asking about postgraduate studies, and we're obviously going to be having a postgraduate streaming event next week as well, Fawn. So do tune in for that at the same time if you want to find out a bit more detailed postgraduate questions. But Will, Fawn's asked, if you're already a postgraduate student at Kent, what job opportunities are there locally? How do students find them? And I guess this is more on-campus jobs and union-based jobs.
Yeah, so there's plenty of job opportunities at the University of Kent, both at the Medway and Canterbury campuses and around the local area. So we've got around 75% of Uni of Kent students that work part-time. So we do pride ourselves of being able to supply as much work and volunteering opportunities for our students. You can apply to our job shop, so you just upload your CV and they'll be able to source jobs around the university and around the local area. So in terms of undergraduate students, you can work in a bar, you can work in a reception, you can work for the union, you can be a student ambassador. In terms of postgrad, it does depend on which course you've done and which career you're looking for. But a lot of students go into either research, lecturing, teaching, sales. So it does depend on what avenue you're looking for. But we do have our careers and employability service on hand. So they can help you throughout your studies and also up to 3 years after you graduate. So in terms of being able to find a job or career, they're on hand to help you, which is fantastic. It's a fantastic service that a lot of students utilize. Even after they've graduated, they still use it. We also have the Careers and Employability Festival, which I believe just finished. And that's when a whole range of companies come down and provide talks and workshops as to what roles are available after university in particular areas. So you can go into account managing, like I say, sales, research. So yeah, there's plenty available.
Absolutely. We're just coming to the end of the event. We're going to just got a few more questions coming in, and obviously thanks to you all at home for sending those in on YouTube and Facebook. Savimba, how would you rate your time at the university, and what have been some of the highlights for you?
How to rate my time? No, it's been amazing. I think university is such an amazing experience, and you really find yourself. I'm definitely a different person than I was when I first started uni in the best way possible. I think it's the first time in your life where you're completely studying what you want to do and you're growing up and you're away from home and you have all these amazing new experiences. So in my time in uni, don't even know what to rate it. It's been such a journey. It's been amazing. I wouldn't change anything about it. One of our highlights, I think in second year, I was on the African Caribbean Society. I was the creators officer, and I was just obviously it just kind of gave me a brand new experience. I got to meet so many new people, and I got to like practice stuff like event management and public speaking, and just hone a lot of skills that I wouldn't have been able to without that opportunity. Met some amazing people, and it was just nice to be kind of feel like part of a community. So I think that would be my highlight of university.
Really making the most of that experience. And Mayo, what about for you? What have been some of the highlights for you?
Funnily enough, I was also part of the African and Caribbean Society. So in my second year, which was basically the cohort after Tavimba's, and I would definitely say being a part of a society was the highlight of my university career. I was the events and promotions officer, so that basically meant I was in charge of social media, and I got to create and organize events. So it was amazing being able to create safe spaces for students like me, being able to create fun events, interactive events, whether it be debates or games nights or game shows. It was just an overall fun experience. So I definitely say that was the highlight of my university experience. Overall, the 3 years, they've been so amazing. I would like Tim said, I wouldn't change anything about it. I would definitely say, if I was to rate it, I would give it like an 8 out of 10. It's been amazing, and I wouldn't pick any other university to do this at, honestly.
And what final words of advice have you got for those students, Mayowa, who are just starting on their journey now?
I would just say enjoy the experience as much as possible. Be open to making friends. Be open to putting yourself out there as well, and be open to having new experiences, because honestly speaking, there's a lot of things that I don't think I would have ever volunteered for, such as being part of society, that I did, and it's been such an amazing journey. It's helped me see a lot of things that I didn't see before. It's helped me discover talents that I didn't know I had as well. So I would just say enter university with an open and clear mind, knowing that basically you have a bunch of opportunities at your hand and you should take full advantage of them.
And Tavimba, for those students who are at the early stages of putting in their applications for uni or are thinking about maybe going to uni in the future, what advice would you have for them?
Honestly, just research. There's never too much research when you're choosing university and course. Make sure you know exactly what universities can offer you, what course tickles your fancy. Just don't be afraid to explore. It doesn't have to do anything to do for A levels you're doing. So if you're not enjoying your A levels subjects, it doesn't mean that you have to go into a degree that follows it. Just do whatever you want and make sure that you're making the choice for you and not for anybody else. And don't overstress it. So university is meant to be a fun experience. Obviously, when you're applying, it can be a bit tense, it can be a bit stressful while you're doing your A levels as well. But just know that it will definitely be worth it, like 100%.
And Will, just coming to you to round off things, where can those watching find out more about applying to the University of Kent?
So we have our open day on the 14th of November, 10 till 2. So that's a great opportunity for prospective students to come along. We'll have our student Q&A as we're sort of doing today, but there's also opportunities to meet academics from particular subjects. They'll have Zoom calls available so you can ask questions about particular subjects. And there's also scholarships and funding, there's international, there's accommodation. They're all on hand on our virtual open day. That will be on hand to answer all the questions that you have sort of around the sort of broader aspects of university. In terms of resources, obviously our website, kentac.uk, that's where you can find all of our courses. They break down what modules you can do within those particular subjects. So you've got optional and compulsory modules. UCAS is also a great resource in terms of looking for personal statement advice. You can also message myself and my colleagues on UniBuddy if you do have any questions with regarding to courses, entry requirements, the application process. So yeah, there's a whole wealth of resources out there on hand. But I definitely recommend our open day on the 14th of November. That'd be a great opportunity for everyone to come along and sort of narrow down the subjects that you want to study and have a chance to chat to those academics on hand and also current students. So you're getting a current perspective of what it's like studying. And also we've got our campus tours available as well, which would be worth coming down if you do want to have a look around our campuses, Medway and Canterbury. So yeah, there's plenty of opportunities to get a bit more information about the university itself and also the courses available.
Plenty of opportunities there and plenty of dates to put in the diary. That's about all we've got time for. William, Mayowa and Tavimba, thank you very much for giving us your advice and coming on to answer those questions this afternoon. Obviously, a big thanks to you all at home for watching and sending in those questions. And you can keep those questions coming in and finding out more by going to kent.ac.uk, as Will said. And you can also follow the university across social media. As I said earlier, we've got a final video to show you the Medway campus and what you can expect if you come to the Medway campus. But on behalf of everyone here at the University of Kent, thank you for watching, and we hope to see you here soon. Goodbye.
Hello, my name is Timmy Olanka. Welcome to the University of Kent Medway campus. So beside me is the Drill Hall Library, the longest library in Europe. When I was doing my dissertation, I remember I needed so many resources. The Drill Hall Library staff were always there to help me whenever I had any questions. So this is definitely the place to be to achieve those top marks and to do some social distance study. Behind me is the Deep End, which is the student hub on campus. Every single day of the week, we have so many activities with our top performers, theatres and plays all being hosted at the Deep End. I'm just hoping very soon, in the near future, we can have some more. And behind me is the sports centre. It has a fully equipped gym and a large sports hall for volleyball, basketball and of course, five-a-side football. So close by are the Medway building and the Gillingham building, as well as the Medway School of Pharmacy. Inside the Gillingham building, we have the School of Social Policy, Sociology and Social Research, as well as the Centre for Journalism. Inside the Medway building, we have the School of Sports and Exercise Science and the School of Computing. It's also the home of KMTV, the university's part-owned local television station. KMTV offers a lot of students internships where I'm having an enjoyable time and developing myself for my future career. Pear Keys offers modern and suite accommodation to students. Each flat has about 5 to 8 students with a fully equipped shared kitchen. Pear Keys has a lot of social spaces and a laundrette. And if you're looking for a quick bite, then Pear Keys has Subways, Domino's and Tesco Express. It's a great place to live if you're looking for somewhere close to the Medway campus and popular sites around Medway. Medway has much to offer. Take Rochester, for example. You can shop along the cobbled high street, take a trip to the famous castle or cathedral, and a journey to London on the train is less than an hour. Medway is also home to the historic dockyard Chatham. We're over here at the historic dockyard Chatham, which is a maritime museum which showcases the unique history of the Medway region. This region has also been used for so many blockbuster movies and TV series sets. The University of Kent also has a presence here, and behind me is a galvanizing shop, which is a great location for the Kent Business School students and the music and audio technology students to enjoy some great food, time with friends and live gigs between classes. I hope you found out a little bit more information about the Medway campus here at the University of Kent. If you're looking for any more information, please visit our website and our social media pages. Thank you very much for watching, and we hope to see you soon.